News, glorious news. We're anxious to hear it. Wizards of the Coast and other stuff that might be important. Yeah, I'm still singing. What's up, babies? It is I, the OGGM, coming to you live at 9:20 in the morning. That noise you hear is either an airplane or rain coming in. I'm not sure. It's the 5th day of February 2024. We have a break in the aerial flood or whatever it is they're calling this thing. We had rain all day yesterday. Not like super heavy typhoon rain, but just persistent. And there was some flooding, but I'm still safe. Currently it's cold and wet and gloomy, but no rain. But we're expected to have more. So we'll see what happens. It's Monday. It's time to open up our charts, take out our maps, consult our sextant, and take a look at the tabletop role-playing game news, that stories that might be shaping the direction the world of our hobby goes. And, you know, it'd be nice. Would it be nice if this would just be some nice, quiet work week where we could just talk about nothing, but there's a new stuff coming out for Dragonbane and some other new games coming out, and we're getting into con season and how excited we are about the stuff that's coming out this week and this year, and, you know, stuff like Gen Con and Origins coming up, and maybe we'll finally start getting some news on the 2024 50th anniversary celebration. That'd be nice. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. Hi, RPG Grandma. Yep, more rain. We'll see. She gets it before I do, so we'll see. Because she's in SAC and I'm here in Ventura. All right, so let's see. Well, I guess the number one story is, hey, Wizards of the Coast is not selling Dungeons & Dragons. Wow. Really? Oh, hey, there's the sun. I think I'll have a heart attack and die from not being surprised, because at no point in time did they say they were. We don't know how this happened, but this story dropped, and people were just ran with it. It didn't even take a second to verify it. The second that they saw something that they did not agree with, they just went crazy. Didn't matter that the company that was supposedly interested was a Chinese video game conglomerate in China or anything else. They just like Wizards of the Coast, D&D equals something bad. And from what we've discovered and what we've researched is like, no, they're not. Why would they? At worst, what they're doing is testing the waters to see which companies are interested in carrying some of their IPs in new directions. And in that case, yes, it would make sense that they're talking to Tennyson, because Tennyson owns a portion of Larian Studios, and Larian Studios, as you know, made Baldur's Gate 3. And they're probably looking to make a Baldur's Gate 4 or other D&D-centric video games. And these guys did a really great job. And Tennyson has like 8%. So sure, hey, Tennyson, you've got a lot of fingers and a lot of different video game pools and a lot of different digital things. And would you like to maybe run with part of the IP for a couple of years and invest in video games and help some of these companies? And, you know, that makes sense. But hey, company that has absolutely no idea what we do or how we do it, please buy our complete collection of everything lock, stock, and barrel. We're just going to drop it during the 50th anniversary. No. And a lot of people made videos going, haha, OGGM, you were wrong. And I was like, did you even bother to watch my videos? But no, you're just looking for a reason to farm my clout. Yeah, I never said they were going to. In fact, I said multiple times, this is probably not true. And if it is true, it's only in regards to digital. And isn't this something you would want? I think of all the things, the two things that came out the most that people were upset about was, I said Tennyson owned Larian, and apparently Tennyson only has 8% of something of Larian. People got upset at that. How dare you fucking say Tennyson owns Larian? They don't. Really? That's your takeaway? That's your takeaway? And the other thing was all the people that were upset about this. Because right now we are just so psychologically molded to be angry at Wizards of the Coast. No matter what they do, we will find fault in it and attack them and then make it about ourselves. A story like Wizards of the Coast hires new window cleaning services. You guys are going to turn that into something awful and horrible, and hundreds of people are going to post videos about it. And then you're never actually going to bother to actually research the story and go, oh, wait, the story has nothing to do about anything other than paying somebody once a week to clean their windows. So this was a nothing burger story, but everybody ran with it. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, dear, you said they were. It's like, no, I never said they were going to sell it. Never once. Not this year. Literally said like multiple times, dude, it's the 50th anniversary. Why would they sell it now? If anything, they're looking to sell off more video game stuff. And isn't this something you would want? As I said, that's the other thing. I would think you guys would want them to not mess around with video game stuff. But I don't know. Window cleaners will ruin D&D. Okay, what else happened? Another thing that came out is Wizards of the Coast devatted the latest version of Jeremy Crawford 5.57 and had him in a very, God, why does Chris Perkins look so sad? I just want to give him a hug and a sandwich and tell him to just walk away. Just walk away, Perkins. Just walk away. Yeah, so they just want you to know that they will not have any Dungeons & Dragons books ready by May. Probably not by June. Maybe not even July. But maybe by August? Because that's when Gen Con is. But yeah, I know you guys saw that thing we put up when we had that date. You mean the thing you took down and specifically told us that was incorrect? Yes. Well, we just don't want you to think the games are coming out in May. Why would we think they're coming out in May, Jeremy? You specifically told us multiple times when PAX Unplugged ended that was a mistake and they're not coming out in May. Why do you need to remind us that they're not coming out in May? It feels like you're just rubbing salt in the wound. Nobody brought it up. Nobody cared. Most people were just knew it was going to come out sometime before Christmas, and they're like, we're going to get it eventually. But I mean, we know they're not going to do anything right with it, so fuck it. I'd rather talk about something else. But you had to bring attention to that. You had to put a little smoke and mirrors, a little shuck and jive, a little showmanship to rub salt in the wound that we don't have it yet, and we're probably not going to have it to Gen Con. Why Gen Con? Somebody said, why would they release it with Gen Con where nobody's going to have any money to buy it? And I was like, well, because Gen Con is media. Gen Con is filling the shelves. Gen Con is a car show. You want to get all the retailers over to see your brand new car, D&D 6e, and say, hey, do you want to carry this car / book at your Amazon? Do you want to carry this car / book at your Target, at your Ollie's, at your whatever? And then, Target will say yes and blah, 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 and Amazon, blah, blah, blah. And the press, all these different press people will post multiple videos about it and articles about it. And then Wizards will judge the response and then make it available to the general public. That is why they're probably waiting to a convention. And it's probably either going to be San Diego Comic-Con or Gen Con. So, yeah. Which was sort of past the actual official date of the 50th, but it would still build some excited. I think the most interesting thing is the lack of interest. Multiple polls, multiple people have been questioned, and as of today, still there's very little actual interest in 6E or 5.5, or whatever they're calling about it. Most people are just like, I'll stick with what I have. Why do I need a new one? Especially since you've spent so much time telling me I don't need a new one. Literally, isn't that the very first thing that comes out of your mouth at every interview? It's backwards compatible. Yes, you should just buy all my merch. Starfinder Society is bringing its current storyline to an end. We talked about it on the Thursday. We've got this thing coming out from Dragonbane. There's some stuff going on with Dungeon Crawl Classic where they're doing a crowdfunding for something called Purple Planet. Always love to see Dungeon Crawl Classic stuff. And they announced the date for Free RPG Day. We talked about that as well. It's just, I would love more stores to carry it, but I also understand why more stores don't do Free RPG Day because it's just not cost effective. So the other major story of this week, of course, was Grim Jim Gate and the amount of clout-chasing trolls that jumped on Grim Jim for releasing that story and that article. Now, Jim didn't have to release the story. the article. Grim Jim did not have to go through all the stuff that he did to research it and whatever else. You know, he did his thing. And there we go. But yeah, still, people, yes, more Arduin, Crown and Skull. More Arduin. So yes, now Jim has posted today another video about it, and of course the clout chasing Verucas are jumping all over Jim. Jim had nothing invested in this. I mean, you know, he had to know that people were going to come after him. He knows how the industry works, but he felt the story was so important that it had to be told. And people are like, well, it's not real. It didn't happen. You don't have proof. Her article is suspect, blah, 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 blah. She doesn't, you know, just finding every reason. Even people you would think would be on Jim's side are using this as an excuse to go after Jim and to go after the story and to make that about themselves. Something happened to somebody else a long time ago, but you need to make it about yourself to get some cheap heat. And as long as people keep responding to these people, and I'm guilty of it too, they're going to keep posting. We've seen this before, right? It's nothing new. How many times have we gone this before with people like, you know, Condor or Shoner or L or Shell or Solomon or JSG? It's just more trolls who farm other people's content, clout chase the content, say extremely controversial things in order to get people to respond. And then when we respond, we prove them right. And then they make another video. And then we respond and we prove them right. So, I mean, you know, look at this latest one, this new one. What's this new guy's name? That's shitting all over Jim and trying to make it all by himself. I tried to get it within this guy, but then I realized, wait, this is just Condor DM with another face. I've been through this before. There's no reason to engage with these guys. So I know it's very frustrating to see these people post and see these people chase clout, and you want to argue with them. You want to defend them. You're shocked at the people who are turning against Jim and making this about themselves. I never thought I'd see so-and-so turn on Jim. I never thought I'd see turn on Jim and make this about them. I never thought I'd see the OGGM make this about himself, except I suffered under it too, just different way. But yeah, I was there, you know, in Solomon and shit. I've talked to Zach 4 times, you know. I mean, I know he's not the most perfect person on the planet, but nobody deserved even 1% of this. You know, even if 1% of what is in the article is true, it's something that we need to adjust. And I think Jim, in his, you know, good-heartedly was hoping that this would be a rallying cry, that we would all unite against this ugliness and this bullying in the tabletop role-playing game. But we didn't. We just used it as an excuse to continue to eat each other. And as long as people keep feeding these clout chasers, they're going to keep posting videos. So, yeah. And it's weird because, you know, it's part of you is like, I want this. This is important. We need to talk about it. We need to let people know that this happened, and we need to unite against these bullies, you know, because it's the internet age, and you can completely ruin somebody's reputation in just one tweet. Look what happened to the, you know, the female actress from The Boys. You know, that one other actress posted one tweet, and she's just nonstop in the news every day about, you know, did she have plastic surgery? Didn't have plastic surgery? She looks older in this picture that was taken last week than she does in this old picture that was taken 10 years ago. Of course she fucking looks older than she did 10 years ago. She's older, but it's a feeding frenzy. And we eat each other. And I think Jim wanted us to unite against this, but instead, we showed how ugly the tabletop role-playing game community has become. Now, I, for one, you know, love it when these people talk about me, because it's free press, you know, and I have had, you know, every time Condor posts 10,000 videos about me, every time JSG finds my content and says GM Grumpy Grump or West Coast Grognard or some OSR commentator, he thinks he's, you know, riling the bear. And my response is complete. Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking about me. All you're doing is driving traffic to my channel. Anyways, that's the news. It is still gloomy. Please, if you are anywhere that is being bombarded by weather, stay safe. It doesn't look like this is anytime soon, but apparently the marsupial, the groundhog, has said we're going to get spring sooner than we expected. So that'd be nice. Yeah, I really got nothing else to say. I think probably the big story again. I just find the language of the trans woman dry interesting. Word choices drives they are. Somebody else commented on her language and stuff like that, and how it wasn't professional, and therefore it's suspect because it feels more like a opinion, like an editorial, than a research project. And I was like, yeah, it literally is a emotional response to a situation that they experience. It's not going to be well written. They're not trying to tell you how to cook a turkey. It's a blog post. They were just vomiting out an experience they had in a way that they felt was conducive to them dealing with the trauma, because as the woman says in the very first paragraph, I have cancer. Okay, so fuck it. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. And if you don't like it, if you don't think it's professional, if you don't agree with me, I don't care, because I might be dead tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not trying to make a thesis paper on the history of the Roman Empire. I'm trying to tell you about an experience I had, what I saw. And other people were like, well, she wasn't very blah, 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 because she talked to other people. And I was like, yeah, because that's what reporters do. It's called verifying a source, blah, blah, blah. And she was unethical because she recorded it. Did she hide the recording device? Did she inform you were being recorded? I think we've learned by now that while unethical, it is still a source. And it is still fact whether she told you she was recording you or not. And unless this is a case of law, who cares if she didn't tell you she was recording you? Reporters record people all the time and don't tell them. It's part of journalism. Then they run with the story in the hopes that you don't have time to come after them. And if you do go after them, they hide behind journalistic red tape. It's part of the game. So she just had this experience. And even if 1% of I'm talking about this way too much. 1% of this experience is true. It's something we needed to know. She didn't write it the way some people thought she should. But I mean, again, she says, I have cancer. I might be dead tomorrow. I'm just going to lay this all out. But then why did she retract it? I don't know. Maybe somebody felt like, okay, this didn't need to be told right now. Maybe she woke up the next day and said, I'm in remission. I'm going to retract it. Maybe she's already shuffled off the mortal coil and somebody else removed it. We don't know. We weren't there. It doesn't affect us. It's that story, and it's Jim's story, and it's Reggie's story, and it's Zach's story. But yeah, you people are just guessing, liking, and whatever. Because let's make it about me. Let's make it the number one story we're going to talk about. Meanwhile, nobody has brought up, except for me and Stephen Glicker, the rumor about the new CC. The rumor, call it the new CC, the new OGL, the new SRD, the new whatever it is that 6E 2024 D&D is going to be under. There was a rumor for the past week and a half that that's out. Third-party distributors have it. And it's funny because 24 hours after the news that the rumor of it circulating, the Foundry came out and said, we are now the official host of the Dungeons & Dragons VTT. Which sounds to me like you signed it. Because didn't you say this time last year you were on the side of everybody else? Now you're saying, fuck what happened last year. We're totally in the 5e market. Please, we need that money for when 6e comes out. And we want to have the rights to carry the 6e product, even though we don't know how much of a stranglehold it is. So could the whole sale thing have been a smokescreen? Could some of these trolls be D&D shills who are trying to distract us? Is that actually out there? I don't know. I don't have any contacts at Wizards of the Coast anymore. My contact got fired when they had the 1,100 people get fired. But Steven still has contacts at Wizards of the Coast, and I have contacts that are Wizards of the Coast adjacent, and they seem to think that, yeah, it is out there. And the fact that Foundry put out that thing a day after the rumor started, a year after they said they weren't going to, they were on the side with everybody else with the OGL thing. Now they're like, yeah, I want that money, baby. Money, money, money. It's not so funny in the rich man's world. Money, money, money. Get off my land, you fucking marks. I'll talk to you later.